Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tiger Talk here on 88.9 WYN FM. The New Dream. Where did you get a copy of The New Dream from? Soft Delights by Alex Cadell, I think his name was, the lead singer of the band. I think his sisters might have been the backup singers or something. Goodness gracious me, flashbacks of my youth coming to haunt me here, Muskie. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Hillier. This is Tiger Talk, 3 till 5 o'clock, and then the Western Region Footy League preview show between 5 and 6. Andrew Muskett's with me in the studio as per usual. Unfortunately, Benny Taylor's not. Benny's crook today, so he's taken the afternoon off, but he just had enough petrol left in the tank to send off his tips for the big round of matches coming up, and also to send me the details and information on who tipped what from last week between he, Stoney, and myself. So all that riveting information will be coming up a little later on in the program. But we hope Benny, as gets over the flu, there's a lot of it about at the moment, and gets better soon. Of course, this weekend Werribee travel to Coburg on Sunday. It's a big weekend for the club with the auction night coming up on tomorrow night down at the Werribee Racing Club. And then, of course, on Sunday, both development squad and the seniors taking on Coburg over at Coburg, I think it's called Mantello Oval these days. So we'll be heading over there. 11 o'clock start for the development team, 2 o'clock start for the seniors. Have a look at that development team squad as named in the paper today. It is from the backline Larissy, Fairley and Warmold. Half-back line is Meredith, Wales and Sotomaco. The centre line is Marrick, Bolton and Spate. Half-forward line is McGuinness, Tudor and Mather. The forwards Hicks, Brown and Sullivan. In the ruck, Darcy Fort, Kerris and Davis. And the interchange from Ruggles, Jones, Sullivan, Henderson, Zumbo, Purton, Smith, Eade, O'Shea, Lang, Kershaw, Isles and White. Obviously, that gets sorted out at training this afternoon. The senior team is named in the paper. A couple of big names in this side from the North Melbourne contingent. The back line is Wilson, Ferrito and Sherlock. Half-back line, Sirakowski, Kennedy and McDonald. Across the centre, Wright, Gisberts and McKinley. Half-forward line is Costello, Warren and Greenwood. The forwards, Harper, Dorr and Cloustons. In the ruck, Curry, Moore and Ross. And the interchange from McGuinness, Brown, Marrick, Sotomaco, Meredith, Spate, Mather, Brown and Warmold. And one man will be hoping that he stays in that interchange bench is Jarrod Mather. He'll be joining us a little later on in the program. Mark Stone to join us, of course. And very shortly we should hear from the senior coach of the Werribee Football Club, that is Scott West. I mentioned the auction coming up tomorrow night. Big night down at the Werribee Racing Club in the Western Region Footy League show at about 5:10. We'll talk to Rob Westwood, who's actually our auctioneer for tomorrow night. Gets underway at 7 o'clock, and you can still grab tickets, I reckon, to give the office a buzz on 97416688. 97416688. $75 per person. That includes a 3-course meal and drinks, and a good night coming up tomorrow night. Now, let's have a look at the results from last weekend. Good and bad. The Development League unfortunately went down to Casey Scorpions. It was 8-12-60 in the end for Werribee. Casey Scorpions 16-10, 106. For Werribee, the goal kickers Hicks 2, Tudor 2, White, Kershaw, Bolton and Sullivan. Best players for Werribee are named as White, Hicks, Fairley, Bolton, Sullivan and Larissy. And in the seniors, absolutely sensational win by the boys, knocking over the Casey Scorpions. They were down by a goal at quarter time, but then after that, the floodgates opened and the boys came home with a wet sail. It was a big win, kicking 10 goals in the second quarter, 10-3 in the second quarter to 1 goal. So a big second quarter, down to 1 goal, 1 in the third quarter, and then came home with 4 goals, 6. So finished up being 17-12, 114, defeating the Casey Scorpions 8-10-58. For the Tigers, Marrick kicking 5, his best performance for the club so far. We'll talk to Scotty West about that in a tick. Meredith, Wright, Mather, McMahon and Harper all singles. And Sirakowski, Brown, McKinley, Costello, Ross, Dorr and Warren. 13 separate goal kickers. So terrific spread of goal kickers there. The best players were named as Marrick, Dorr, Clouston, McMahon, Sotomaco and Benny Ross. So a couple of results there from the weekend. And what it does to the ladder in the two leagues is this. We got the Box Hill Hawks on top in the Development League. Currently have 42 points. That's a 2-point buffer over Williamstown, who sit in second on 40 points. Port Melbourne are in third on 36. Frankston in fourth on 28. Casey Scorpions also on 28 points. The difference in percentage there is less than 3%. And then we've got a fairly disappointing percentage. We sit in sixth place at the moment with a fairly disappointing percentage of 89.60. We're doing 26 points, so that draw against Box Hill earlier in the year has got us ahead of the Northern Blues in seventh, Sandringham in eighth, Coburg in ninth, and North Ballarat in 10th. So Werribee at the moment 6 and 6 and the draw, so on 26 points. And sitting in sixth in the Development League. In the VFL ladder, Geelong, of course, are nicely on top in the VFL ladder. They are sitting on 40 points ahead of the Casey Scorpions, who, of course, we knocked over last week. They're on 36 points. In third spot is Willie on 32 after their surprise loss last week for many people over Sandringham, even though I have to admit I did have just suspect that they might have been in a bit of trouble and did tip Sandy. Box Hill Hawks in fourth on 32 points as well, and we're in fifth on 32 points. Still with that one win up our sleeve from the Port Melbourne game that hasn't been added in until we get to round 16. So that is up our sleeve at the moment. Handy to have. Collingwood's in sixth. They're on 32 points as well. The difference in percentage there between Werribee and Collingwood is only 0.6. So not much bargaining power there. So we need a very big win against Coburg on Sunday. Port Melbourne in seventh spot on 30 points, and the Northern Blues in eighth on 20. They're just ahead of Ballarat. And I mean just ahead of Ballarat on percentage by 7%. They sit on 20 points. Frankston also sit on 20 points. And then we have Sandy on 18, Essendon on 16, Coburg on 12, and Bendigo Gold, of course, yet to open their account. So that's where it sits at the moment in the VFL with all those teams, the results from last weekend. And I reckon Port win is already in, according to Mark Penaluna. So Mark's telling me that Port game has been added already. I was under the impression it wasn't going to be added until we actually got to round 16. But Mark would be across these ones. 8 wins and 5 losses is where it sits. But let's find out from the senior coach, Scott West, who joins me now. G'day, Westy.
Kev, sorry I'm a little late for ringing in.
That's all right, mate.
The physio rang me just on 4:30. So when he rings on a Friday night, you have to answer.
And I hope it's not bad news.
No, not bad news, which is good. So just had a couple of injury concerns during the week, just talking through them.
Okay. Now, we're still just having a look at the ladder. It's got us down as 8 wins and 5 losses. Does that include the Port one or not?
Yeah, it does.
It does now.
Some ladders do have it, some ladders don't have it. So
okay, so when I printed off the VFL website this afternoon, so they have added it in. So we don't have that one up our sleeve. I take it back what I just said.
Yeah, no, we don't, but we've already won it. So other teams that play in round 16 have to win. So I guess you can look at it one way or the other. So it's still a bonus to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's go back to last weekend. The start sort of caught you a bit by surprise, didn't it?
Well, yeah. 3 goals a zip in the first 5 minutes wasn't the result that I was looking for. A free kick goal, a centre bounce goal, and a general play goal. So, it certainly wasn't what I was looking for, but I think the response after that was as good as I've seen. Yeah,
and is that second quarter as good as you've seen the boys play?
From a holistic point of view, yeah, I think everything that we try to achieve in setting up our defensive pressure and also our ball movement and ability to be able to take our chances. Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes you can play a really good offensive game and kick 10 goals, but I thought our ability to be able to defend and play offence was the real pleasing aspects.
Adam Marrick, you obviously had a bit to do with him when he was on the Melbourne list, and you saw him firsthand up there. I thought the quote that you said after the match sort of sums him up. He doesn't need a lot of possessions to do some damage.
No, you're right. Look, I only spent a year with Adam when he was at Melbourne. He then moved on to Richmond. But, yeah, look, he's an elite kick. He's an absolute elite kick. So, yeah, you only need 3 or 4 metres to be able to hit a target or kick a goal. So, look, his absolute strength is, his ability to be able to be accurate with the footy.
And obviously, good form from Matt Jack Dore on the weekend. I think it was 50 hit-outs that he had on the weekend or some ridiculous number like that?
Yeah, that's what they're saying, 50 hit-outs. But I think it's more important the hits to advantage. We see some numbers can lie in footy, but that one, the hit to advantage out of a ruck contest, just gives you the ability to win the ball first. And I think that was, twice as many as what the opposition were. So, to be able to give us first use out of the ruck and from a stoppage situation, I think gives you the ability to go forward and kick goals.
Yep, absolutely. Westy, we'll look at Coburg. They've had a very up and down season. How do you see them setting up on Sunday?
Yeah, look, I'm not 100% sure. Kev's sitting here right now. Look, the frustrating part for me, and I think something the VFL I've got to address, is that the teams are announced today or last night. Read them in the paper, print them off today, and there's 13 players on their bench because that includes the 7 players that are named on their senior bench. 4 of them will play, whether they carry 1 or 2 over because of the conditions, suspect on a player. We just don't know. And the frustrating part is that we just won't know who's playing until about half an hour before the game. So, we'll know the 4 on the interchange, so we can take them out of the team. But whether they carry over 1 or 2 or 3 of the emergencies, you don't know. But look, in general, they're going to have a pretty strong squad as well. I'm not quite sure what the conditions are going to be like, but they've got some strong bodies around the contest, and we know Oren Stevenson's a very good VFL or very good ruckman.
Yep.
Had a lot of success at VFL level and proven at the AFL level as well. So it's going to be a tough ask. Coburg City Oval is always pretty heavy, so it'll be a challenge. But we got a couple back this week. So, we're going to have a talented lineup ourselves.
Westy, do you see a solution to that? Should the bench numbers be capped regardless of who's playing where and where the AFL affiliate is playing?
I just think we need to get to a point where we name, doesn't matter when, every team on a Thursday, regardless of whether they play Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, whenever, they name 4 on the bench and 3 emergencies. Yep. You can always bring the emergencies in. If they haven't, if you name it on a Thursday and there's still a guy suspect on the Thursday afternoon, and you play Sunday, you can still bring him in. There's no difference in naming 5 on the bench. So, I just think, and there's that much money in betting involved in the AFL now that I just think it's fair to the punters to know who's playing and who's not playing. It's a fair way out. Yeah, no,
I totally agree with you. And I also think from a supporter's point of view, you look at the teams in the paper and it's absolute fiction, most of it.
Well, it is, and most teams, when you put your team in, play around with it a little bit, but it's now has to be rocket science to know who's playing where and who's going to be a tagger and defensive player. And I think I saw the other week a genuine fullback named at full forward, and you think, well, not fooling anyone there. But look, it is frustrating from my point of view because it's so hard to plan. We've got our final team meeting tonight, and I'm trying to get specific matchups for our guys, but I just don't know who's playing. Yeah,
it does make it difficult. The good news is, though, take plenty out of last week's game in terms of to take into this weekend's game, and hopefully another win on the way, and the form line continues the way it's been going the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're 6 out of our last 7 wins. We've got some guys in really good form. We've got some guys that can improve. So I think as a team, we've still got a bit to go. We get a couple of guys back, young Dan Curry and McGuinness, who didn't play last week for us. They're through injury. They'll be back, and obviously Ferrito and Levi Greenwood out of the senior team. So hopefully those boys fit in well, and we have a strong performance.
Must admit, I'm scratching my head while Levi Greenwood's back with us, but that must be just me.
Well, yeah, I'm obviously, it's hard to know. He's had a couple of opportunities, 3 opportunities. I think from memory, he got best on ground 2 weeks ago against.
Yeah, he did.
But obviously, they've got to match up, or it's. Dare I say it, Kev, a team balance situation?
No!
Was that too big a cliche? We're taking it week by week. But yeah, look, and again, hopefully all he can do now is, get his chin off the ground and play his part here, and that's what he's done all year when he's come back to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Westy. Thanks for your time, mate. I appreciate it, and good luck on Sunday.
Thanks, Kev.
Scotty West joining us there, the senior coach of the Werribee Football Club. And just to look at the record of the Tigers up against Coburg, thanks to Johnny and Julie Mack for this again. Played them 51 times, won 28, lost 23. First played Coburg in round 8 in 1969. Lost by 71 points, won our first game against Coburg 15 games later in round 18. 15 games later in round 18, 1991. Big difference there. It's a lot more than 15 games, I would have thought. It might have meant 15 years later. Victorious by 22 points. Highest winning margin, 139 points. That was at home in round 16, 2001. And here's a 1993 flashback from Johnny and Julie. Played Coburg twice in 1993, and of course we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Premiership. Round 2 won by 136, round 13 won by 38 points. And of course got the big cocktail party and reunion function coming up before the Port Melbourne game in a couple of weeks' time, and the big Past Players Day will be on that Sunday afternoon. But let's get to a man who's got himself back into the senior team after a little bit of injury problem again this year. Jarrod Mather joins us. G'day, Jarrod.
G'day, Kev. How are you?
I'm going well, mate. You played the 4 games so far this year. What's been the problem with the body?
It's a bit of hamstring tendonitis. It's put me on the sidelines for kind of the mid-chunk of the year, and hopefully I can string it together towards the end of the year now.
So how does that... What is hamstring tendonitis, Jarrod?
Well, it's right up in the top of the glute where the hamstring connects to the hip, and it's a lot of inflammation kind of around that joint. So you got to kind of get a bit of a jab and a bit of a rest, and let it settle and start from scratch. Really,
is it almost like the an osteopubis version for your hamstring?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a lot of inflammation.
And does that
discomforting when trying to play with it?
I was going to say, does that give you? Where's the discomfort come in? The back of your legs or in your back or both?
It's just in the backside, in my bum. So even when driving in the car and stuff like that, it was just giving me a lot of grief, and trying to run out 4 quarters, I wasn't really doing that too well. So I thought, I have to get on top of this because it can't keep going the way it is.
Yep. And how is the body now? You're back to 100%, or is this something that you've got to just deal with and maintain, and obviously work really hard in recovery?
Yeah, well, it's something that I'm just always going to have to ongoing kind of exercise and stuff I've got to do now. But I'm feeling good at the moment. I'm feeling close to 100% as I have all year, and hopefully it can just hold up.
Mate, how's your form been in the 4 games that you have played so far?
I've only played 3, actually, probably 3 from note, because first one I pretty much only played about a quarter in the end, so I had a bit of an illness. But it's not too bad. I played 2 games in the reserves and played in the midfield, and got my confidence and stuff up a bit, and the fitness. So and then I was lucky enough to get a call up last week. So hopefully I can just keep my spot from now on.
Yep. Mate, did I see you either after a game or something doing laps on the ground at one stage?
After a game?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No, okay. Just
that was might have been when I was doing rehab, but before the game. But
I was going to say after a development game, I swear I could have saw you.
Yeah, I had to do rehab. I wasn't playing just yet, so I had to do my rehab in between the reserves and senior game.
And mate, are you keeping yourself busy outside the football club?
Yeah, I'm an electrician, so my hands are pretty full with that at the moment.
All right, well, it's terrific to see you back in the seniors, mate. I hope you do keep your spot this week leading into the game against Coburg, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Good on you, Jarrod. Jarrod Mather joining us there. It's fantastic to see him back, local product, back in the senior side this week again, taking on Coburg over at Coburg City Oval at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. The development game, as I mentioned, at 11 o'clock. Now, I've just got to go through and find the text message that Ben sent me earlier today, so as I've got all these tips and everything ready for when... here we go. Now we'll get Stoney on the line in a tick, and we'll go through the games for this coming weekend. which actually start tonight down at Geelong, down at Skilled Stadium under lights. So they've had a big day down there at Geelong today. They've had a an open senior training session during the day, and then they flicking the lights on and taking on Collingwood. That's where Ben is. He's not crook at all. He's gone down to watch Collingwood play Geelong in the game under lights. Oh, I've just woken up to him. Oh, fair crack of the sauce bottle there, as famous Australian would say. We'll wait for Stoney, but while we do wait for Stoney, we might just play that track 5 on that CD there and get everyone warmed up for the Western Region Footy League show, which is coming up after 5 o'clock. Stoney shortly with a look at all the games for this coming weekend. All right, you're listening to Tiger Talk here on 88.9 WYN FM. Mark Stone joins me now. Benny's away today. He's not feeling terribly well, Stoney, but welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks, Kev. Sorry about that. I got caught away with some work, so I apologise I was a bit late.
Not a problem. Look back at last week's round 13 results. You got 6 out of 7. Benny got 6 out of 7. I jagged that Sandringham win and picked 7 out of 7. So,
well done, Kev.
Yeah, well, I just had a feeling. I don't know why. I just had a feeling that Willie might be in a bit of bother.
Yeah,
so it's
bit of a turn up, yeah.
Benny and myself on 51. You're on 56. We're moving around 14 games. Let's talk about ours first up, because it's vitally important that we keep this run going, Stoney.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, after a great win last week against Casey, it's important that get the win, and obviously to try and stay in close knit to the top 4 would be really great. Danger game against Co, but the boys have to come out just with the right attitude, like they finished off the game last week, and we can get the chocolates if that happens, I reckon.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the games. As I mentioned, they kick off tonight, Geelong and Collingwood under lights down at Simmons Stadium, and Benny denies that that's where he is, rather than sitting at home convalescing and coughing and spluttering. He's definitely not at Simmons Stadium. So Geelong and Collingwood, who do you fancy here?
I think Geelong, Casey Tatungi Fund, all the gate receipts will go towards that fund, and it's a great thing that the club's doing that. And I think Geelong, just too many guns, and what a great thing, Friday night football at Simmons Stadium. Yeah,
it's a great idea. Geelong for me, and Geelong also for Benny in this one. Box Hill take on the Northern Blues.
You can't go past Box Hill. I don't think Northern Blues, what sort of side they're going to bring to the table, what sort of attitude. Box Hill in pretty good form. I expect them to win the game. And pretty comfortably, I reckon. Yeah,
it's Box Hill all round, actually, for the three of us. This is the one that I reckon might polarise our tips. Port Melbourne take on Williamstown. Willie, off, as I mentioned, the back of that defeat against Sandringham last week.
It's an interesting game, this one. Both sides really need to win. Port Melbourne have been in, their form has deteriorated or dropped away. They've played in patches. Williamstown, after last week, I believe Peter German was breathing fire last week at certain stages, some little birdie tells me, and
it wouldn't be like Pete.
For that, I think Williamstown can win.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on that one. I know I did a function last night for the Bulldogs, and we had one of the boys playing at Williamstown was due to arrive there. Team meeting last night went for ever and a day. So he has done some serious homework on Port Melbourne as Peter German, and he has, I think, seriously told the boys exactly what he expects of them on the weekend, and I think they'd better deliver. Benny, on the other hand, has gone for Port Melbourne in this one.
Very close game, this one.
Yeah, it will be. So will this one, I reckon. Frankston at home to North Ballarat.
Big chance for Frankston here. I reckon. I really believe they can get the chocolates in this game. North Ballarat will have a pretty strong side, but Frankston at home, big challenge for North Ballarat, because they'll be trying to say, well, can we make finals? Can't we not? If they lose, I think they're out of calculation. For me, Frankston win by under a kick.
Yeah, I'm for Frankston too, and so is Benny in that one. I think Frankston are a better side than their ladder position would tell you, and I think the advantage they get at home and how much better they play at home. I know the drums and the noise and all that stuff. It does put opposition teams off, but they actually play their ground very, very well. And I reckon they've got a couple of blokes up forward who'll kick them enough goals to get them across the line.
They're not a bad side, Kev. Really, they are a better side than they're on the ladder.
Yeah, they're probably only 2 or 3 players short of being a top 6 side.
Yeah, I agree entirely, yeah.
Sandringham coming off that big win over Williamstown will take on Bendigo, and you would think it's Sandy, isn't it?
Yeah, they get a bit of confidence too from last week. I reckon that they're a dangerous side, Sandringham, so I expect them to win this game pretty easily, but a good result for them and good for the end of the season, because they're also challenging also.
Yep. And the final game in the tips is Casey back at home taking on Essendon.
I'm going to go for an upset. I think Essendon can win. I think I know Casey will. Last week was disappointing. I know they lost 4 players during the game, but for me, bit of a smoky for me, Essendon in this game.
Yeah, I'm going Casey, only because it's at Casey and because every time Essendon have potted me all year. They've haunted me all year in these tips. That's why I'm behind. It's because of Essendon. No one else. It's not because I'm not good at this. It's because of Essendon.
They're the culprit.
Yes, they are. And Benny's gone for Essendon too. So they're the big games. And of course, out to Coburg City Oval on Sunday to watch the Werribee Tigers take on Coburg in what's a very important game and hopefully a win for the boys all round there. And another. Was I right? Am I right in thinking another VFL player was upgraded this week and is going to play his first game?
Which club, Kev?
Was it Towers?
Dean Towers, yes, that's right, correct, on the money there. So great to see him, and a former North Ballarat player, and good to see Fitzy's getting some players recognised, and it's just really great. He's a good player.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Stoney. Thanks for calling in, mate. Appreciate it.
No, thanks, Kev.
That's the Werribee Show for another week. Tiger Talk.